to Honorable Finance Minister Shri Arun Jaitley ji and his team on this historic occasion. May I also welcome the Honorable Finance Minister who will brief you on the subject. I also extend a warm welcome to the Honorable Minister of State for Finance Shri Santosh Kumar Gangwar ji, Union Minister of State for Finance and Corporate Affairs Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal ji. My warm welcome to Shri Ashok Lavasa, Finance Secretary and Secretary Expenditure, Shri Shaktikanta Das, Secretary Economic Affairs, Dr. Hasmukh Adia, Secretary Revenue, Shri Neeraj Kumar Gupta, Secretary Deepam, Shri Arvind Subramaniam, Chief Economic Advisor. Friends, first the Honorable Finance Minister will make his opening remarks, after which the Revenue Secretary will make a brief presentation. The floor is then open for questions. I earnestly request you to restrict one question per head, if possible, for organization, so that all of your friends get equal opportunity. Please also follow points of order. The placards are kept in front of you. Please lift them high so that I can call out the number one by one. And a gentle request, as usual, please keep your mobiles on a switch-off mode or a silent mode. Over to the Honorable Finance Minister.
Well, thank you very much for all being here. Yesterday, a very major step forward has been taken in the direction of having a uniform tax in the country. The Constitution Amendment Bill was pending for a long time, predominantly because the Rajya Sabha was not able to reach a consensus on it. Inherent maturity of Indian politics that prevailed, and not only were we able to achieve a consensus, I think the most significant aspect was that the bill was passed with unanimity. Of course, the unanimity was achieved because members of one of the political parties walked out. But even with that, there was an overwhelming consensus. And in achieving this unanimity, besides the first point that I made, that the inherent maturity of Indian politics did prevail, I think public opinion in favor of this uniform tax also had a very important role. Most voices were loud and clear in favor of a uniform goods and services tax in the country. In fact, we have very rarely seen a situation where there was a sense of public anxiety, almost an exasperation over the delay. Additionally, I think the role of the state governments was extremely positive. More and more state governments felt that this would help their revenues. Even the manufacturing states were of the opinion that this would help in plugging the leakages. This would expand their taxation base. This would ease the process of doing business in their states. And obviously in Parliament, it is MPs from states who are elected, who act in tandem with the opinion of their political parties and the state governments. And therefore it was an extremely difficult situation to reconcile that state governments belonging to almost all political parties were overwhelmingly in support of the bill, and it was therefore not plausible for members of parliament to stand up in opposition. The government, of course, had marathon rounds of consultations. Over the last 2 years, we've had consultations at the level of the state governments, the chief ministers, the finance ministers, in the empowered committees. At the official level, we had a dialogue as far as the officials were concerned. And politically, we've been having a dialogue with almost every political party. And in the last phases of the dialogue, we were accommodative of various views, but without compromising on the fundamentals of the bill. And I'm sure once the GST is rolled out, doing business in India would be easier. It would help a very large body of traders, business people, also the citizens. अगर हम लंबे अर्जे में देखें तो टैक्स रेट नीचे आएगा, और अगर टैक्स रेट नीचे आता है तो स्वाभाविक है कि बहुत चीजें और वस्तुएं ऐसी होंगी जिसकी दाम कम हो सकते हैं। अब आने वाले दिनों में इसका आगे जो रोड मैप है, हम लोग प्रयास करेंगे कि शीघ्र से शीघ्र उसको पूरा करके जो प्रक्रिया चल रही है इसको लागू किया जाए। लोकसभा की दृष्टि से हम लोगों ने नोटिस दे दिया है, क्योंकि कुछ जो अमेंडमेंट्स एडिशनल की हैं राज्यसभा ने, वो लोकसभा में जानी होंगी। उसके बाद देश की 29 विधानसभाओं में ये जाएगा। आजकल अधिकतर विधानसभाओं का मॉनसून सत्र चल रहा है और इसलिए हर राज्य सरकार भी ये जानती है कि उनको अभी पास करना पड़ेगा, या विशेष सत्र बुलाना चाहे या इसी सत्र के दौरान करें। और जब वो स्थापित होगा तो काउंसिल की स्थापना करने के बाद हमारा तो टारगेट होगा कि अगले सत्र में जो विशेष कानून लाने हैं उन कानूनों को हम संसद के समक्ष ले आएं और इसको पारित करें। वैसे परसों हम लोगों ने जो बेनामी संपत्ति को लेकर कानून था, दोनों सदनों में अप्रूव हो गया है और बहुत शीघ्र ही वो एक एनफोर्सेबल लॉ बन जाएगा। इस देश में ब्लैक मनी को चेक करने में उसकी भी अपनी एक भूमिका होगी। अभी रेवेन्यू सेक्रेटरी इस पे एक छोटी सी प्रेजेंटेशन देंगे, उसके बाद जो भी आपको स्पष्टीकरण चाहिए होंगे वो हम लोग उसके लिए उपलब्ध रहेंगे।
Thank you, sir. Now I request the Revenue Secretary to make his presentation.
Honorable Finance Minister, Honorable Minister of State, my colleagues in the Finance Ministry, and dear friends. First of all, before I start the formal presentation about the next steps for implementation of GST, I would like to also place on record the contribution made by so many officers in making this bill a reality. In fact, for last 10 years this has been going on, and more so the level of discussions with the state level finance secretaries and the commissioners of commercial tax, with the CBEC officers, with the officers of central government. Last 2 years there has been intense number of meetings, so many meetings are held, and so many of our colleagues who are working at the state level as well as in the central government have contributed to this, and I would like to really acknowledge the role played by them in making this a reality. My special thanks to all my colleagues who made this a reality, including two of my predecessors who have worked very hard for this, Satyakant Das, who was in Revenue, and earlier to that Mr. Sumit Bose, who was also Revenue Secretary for 3 years prior to Mr. Das. So they have also played a very important role in this. And at the state level also there are many. In fact, the passion with which the state level officers used to come to Government of India and discuss this subject with us, and they tried to protect the interest of their state, it was really a sight to see. It was very engrossing discussion, and sometimes the meetings used to continue till late in the night. Every single subject we have discussed, and that is why, apart from the constitutional bill which has now been passed, we are also ready with the GST bill, and now it's only a question of final approval of the GST bill in the GST Council. So all these advanced preparations have been possible only because of this engagement with the state level officers. There are 3 things we need to do in order to achieve the targeted date of 1/4/2017. First is the establishment of a legal framework. I will talk a little more elaborately in the next slide about it. Then I will show you one roadmap for IT infrastructure. Where are we and where do we want to go? And third, of course, is the change management, which is a very important and the most important part of this entire exercise, which includes the training of officers of CBEC as well as state government, and also the outreach program for the business community, because all the people in India who are dealing in business, those who are traders, manufacturers, they have to be explained the provisions of the law, and we have to. So as of now, we are trying to achieve this target date of 1st of April 2017. Coming to the legal framework, most of the media people have reported this today, that the next step will be 50% of states will have to ratify. There are 29 states and 2 union territories with state legislatures, so 31. We need approval of 16 states, which we hope to get within 30 days. Our target is within next 30 days we must get approval of 16 states, the ratification by the legislature. Then of course the presidential assent will come, cabinet will approve the formation of GST Council, and then all the recommendations of GST law, all the provisions of model GST law will be put up to the GST Council. And that is the phase in which we will have to see how much time it takes for us to arrive at a consensus, or at least 75% majority vote in the GST Council for adopting the model GST law. And then of course, once it is approved by the GST Council, the Cabinet of Union and the state, they will approve their own laws. There will be CGST and IGST Act passed by the Parliament, and then there will be a state GST law which will be passed by state legislature. So we hope that in the winter session of 2016, all the bills should come before the state assemblies and the Parliament. As far as IT infrastructure is concerned, in fact, because of the foresight, we are ready with the backbone, IT backbone for implementation of GST. It is given to a company called Gujarat Goods and Services Tax Network. This company is already ready with most of the software for 3 processes: registration, return filing, and the payment. All these 3 modules are already ready. Hardware is also, the comprehensive contract is already given. Now the hardware supply will start as early as possible. Apart from the front-end processes, we also need the back-end processes for the CBEC and for the state government, VET department. So that process also is going on. There are 31 states. 17 states have given their back-end processing work to the GSTN. So the software for that is being prepared by GSTN. And 14 states are already in the process of making their own back-end processes for GST. So that is also well on track. The CBAC's back-end system will be ready by November. 14 states who are doing on their own, their system will also be ready by November. So by December end, all the software, back-end and front-end, by all the three agencies, GSTN, CBEC and all the states, should be ready. So we will then devote the next 3 months period of January to March to do the actual live testing of all the transactions and on the hardware which is newly acquired so that we don't find any glitches. So this is the program for IT infrastructure. When it comes to change management, there are 60,000 assessing officers of state and center put together, almost equal, 30,000 with the CBEC, 30,000 with the state government. And all those assessing officers, they would be of the rank of, say, assistant commissioners and above, or sometimes commercial tax officers also, class 1 and above. There are 60,000 assessing officers. Training of this is going to be done in 4 phases. Source trainers workshop, it is already completed. Source trainers will in turn train the master trainers, which will be over by mid-August 16. After that, the trainers will be trained by October 16, and these 1,000 officers who are being trained as trainers, they in turn will train 60,000 other people all over the country. So that program is being done with the help of National Academy of Indirect Taxes, NASEN. So that academy is going to be in charge of the training. Then after that, in December, between December and March, even the GSTN will do the training of IT systems for the officers of state as well as center. Simultaneously, the outreach program has already started. In 4 or 5 big cities, we have already done the outreach program, big meetings with the trade and industry, in which officers from my own department have gone and explained to the trade and industry. But now the real work will start, because now we know exactly how it is going to come. So we'll be accelerating this process of outreach and sensitization of trade and industry, and we hope to complete that also by March 2017. Multiple town hall meetings will have to be held with trade and industry, and this is the most significant part of it. In order to explain to a small trader what will be the shape of GST, we will be making some IT modules also, some kind of animation modules also, which will be put on the website so that anybody can pick up and learn about GST. It will be easy to understand kind of module, which training modules. As far as the process of registration is concerned, it's very simple. In fact, we have already got the database of all the VAT dealers from all the states. And that database has been completely cleaned up. The database of excise and service tax payers also is with us. So the entire database is already ready. And so as soon as GST comes, they will be auto-migrated. So there is no need for the existing VAT dealer or a service tax dealer to again register with GST. They will be automatically transferred to GST. As far as new dealers are concerned, who come after 1/4/2017, the process is very, very simple. It is based on PAN as a unique identifier, and they will all get a new TIN number, tax identification number, GST identification number, and then the registration will be deemed registration. Within 3 days, if no query is heard from the department, it will be deemed to have been registered. So that kind of a simple process of registration is being planned. And in certain cases, post-registration verification will happen, and then if there is any problem with the registration, the dealer can be told to comply with it. As far as return filing is concerned, there will be 2 categories of people. Those who are B2C, business to consumer, for them the simple, very simple return will be there. There would not be any transaction-wise detail in case of B2C dealers, where they are not getting into any interstate sale. If it is within the state, a dealer within the state, and if it is B2C, then the return will be very simple. It will only simply say turnover, etc. But if it is B2B, and also if it is covering interstate sale, then there are 4 returns prescribed. One will be the most important return, which has to be filed by 10th of every month. That return is called suppliers list. So to whom have I sold all the goods? That transaction-wise detail will have to be entered by 10th of the month. Once all the dealers do it by 10th of the month, then by 15th of the month, on the purchase side, whatever purchases are made by you, it will be auto-populated in your account. So everybody will get it. Just as today in income tax, if tax deducted is deposited by the deductor in the income tax account, then in form number 26AS, you automatically get a credit for it. So similarly, once the supplier's transactions are entered, the purchase side, whatever transactions have happened, will automatically be populated in your account, and the computer will do the matching. And that is why we say that this is an auto-compliant system in which every input tax credit will be matched by the computer transaction by transaction wise. And so this is the simple thing. And then the monthly return will also be populated. So once you have put in all your details of sales, then auto-population of purchases will happen. If you want to make any changes in that, suppose you say that some of my transactions are not reported in the purchase, then you can enter 1 or 2 more transactions which are left out. And the monthly return will then be auto-populated. Even the annual return will be auto-populated. You have to simply see if it is okay, sign it and send it. So this is a simple system of common return. And there will be 1 return for state as well as center. There will not be 2 returns for the state as well as center. The small taxpayers who have opted for a composition scheme will have to file return on a quarterly basis, not even monthly return, right? So that is the kind of system. And all taxes can be paid online. It has to be paid online. That is the kind of system we have developed. There will be a payment option on the website itself. You can straight away make payment through internet banking, through debit card, credit card, whatever. What are the major challenges in implementation of GST? These are the 7 main challenges. And we do hope that we are able to overcome these 7 challenges in order to meet the deadline of 1st April 2017. The first challenge is calculation of revenue base of state and center. Because the calculation which CEA's report has done and NIPFP has done is based on the taxable base of the state and center as in 2013-14. Since then, a lot of things have happened, both at the state as well as center level. And we need to account for those changes which have taken place in the last 2 years. For example, the central government has also come out with many more cesses in the last 2 years. So the calculation does not include those cesses, etc. Secondly, the requirement for compensation, it is yet to be worked out. And the requirement of compensation cannot be worked out till the GST Council decides the rate structure for the GST. Because once we know what is going to be the rate structure for GST, what will be the actual loss of revenue to states can only be worked out at that stage. So we'll have to wait till the rate structure is decided, and then only the compensation requirement can be worked out. As far as the GST rate structure is concerned, everybody wants lower taxes. There is no doubt about it. Politically also, the government would like to, as an Honorable FM has mentioned yesterday, that states as well as center, politically, it always is an ambition of any government to reduce taxes for the consumers. Consumers also want the lower taxes, and the dealers and the manufacturing sector, they also want lower taxes. But the challenge lies in making a rate structure, number 1, which is not obnoxious, number 2, which is actually meeting the present revenue requirement of the state and center. Yesterday, Honorable FM in the Parliament had mentioned one figure, that 85% of the revenue of central government comes from items in the standard rate, which means that revenue is coming from 12.5% rate of excise duty. Similarly, 62% of the VAT revenues are coming from their standard rate, which is at present 14.5%. So in all, if you take about 65 to 70% of the revenue of state and center is coming from those items where the total tax incidence is 27%. Now, to what extent can we bring down this 27%? By accounting for the efficiency gain of GST, that is something which the GST Council, and as Honorable FM mentioned, it is a question of calculation, proper calculation. And unless we have done our calculations right, it will be difficult for government to sort of talk about any rates. But in the meantime, in today's newspaper, I find that most of the newspapers have given example of how the different items cost will come down. And in each one of the example, they have taken the ideal rate of 18%, which my friend Arvind has suggested. So all those, I think I would really advise that these are premature calculations, and particularly in the items like car, etc. The calculations are made and said that by 27 can come down to 18, and so that will be the benefit to consumers of car. So it will all depend on what GST rate structure we want to have. There is a challenge there because service tax cannot bear so much of high increase in the rate of service tax, which is at present 15%. At the same time, the revenue neutrality, which is the most important objective, that also has to be maintained. The next challenge, of course, is the list of exemptions. Yes, we don't want inflationary pressure, particularly for a common man's item. So the states and center have to agree to the exempt list. What will be the list of exempted items? Forming a consensus on model GST bill. Model GST bill has still not been debated in the empowered committee. It will mainly come up for discussion in GST Council now. It has got 233 odd clauses. We have already put it in the public domain, and you would be surprised, in the last 2 months since we put it, we took empowered committee's permission to put it in the public domain in June meeting of Calcutta. And since then, in the last 2 months, we have got 40,000 pages of representation from industry and trade. And we have put a whole battery of officers only to sort them out, the various suggestions which have come. And then we will look at each suggestion, and then we will modify the law and take it to the GST and GST Council. So that's another thing. And then every clause may have to be discussed in the GST Council, and once we agree on a consensus for the draft model GST bill, then it will be ready for adoption by Parliament and state assemblies. The threshold limits also is something which is still under discussion, and the states, some of the states want a very low threshold limit of 10 lakhs, while the view of union and few other states is that it should be 25 lakhs, so it's still under discussion. The compounding limits is also a subject of discussion. And finally, of course, the issue of cross-empowerment to mitigate ill effects of dual control. One thing is very sure, that there cannot be a dual control. We cannot have a situation in which both the center and the state give notice to the same dealer for the same transaction or for the same return. We cannot have that situation. So what will happen is that we will have to divide the work among ourselves, and we will have to cross-empower each other. So suppose we decide that 3% or 5% of the cases are to be scrutinized in a particular band of cases, then state and center can divide those cases, and where state is doing the assessment, matlab audit or assessment, in those cases, even for where state is doing CGST के लिए will empower the state, and for where we are doing the scrutiny or the audit, the states will have to empower the central government to do it. So once the case is open in scrutiny for whatever, based on whatever information or based on whatever risk parameters we get, then that case will have to be dealt with only by one agency. So there will be no dual control that way. Now only the question is that how do we cross-empower each other, the state and the center? That is a subject which is still under discussion, and we hope that GST Council will find a solution to that. With these few words, I thank you everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have only 10 to 15 minutes for question and answers, as the Honorable Minister has to leave. So we'll take very select questions. Let's start from 125. Yeah. So, sir.
सर, जब जीएसटी लागू हुआ, चाहे वो ऑस्ट्रेलिया की बात करें, मलेशिया की बात करें, कनाडा की, पहले 2 साल में महंगाई बढ़ी है, भारत क्या इससे अपवाद रहेगा कि या भारत में यही चलन देखने को मिलेगा?
देखिए, इस पे कोई सेटल मॉडल नहीं है। ये इस पे भी निर्भर करेगा कि अल्टीमेटली हमारे स्लैब्स क्या रहते हैं और रेट्स क्या रहते हैं। मैंने कल आंकड़े दिए थे कि बहुत बड़ी मात्रा में जो सीपीआई बास्केट की कमोडिटीज हैं वो जीएसटी एग्जेम्प्ट भी हैं, और इसलिए इन सब चीजों का उसके ऊपर प्रभाव पड़ेगा।
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Rajesh from the Wall Street Journal. Wanted to get a brief insight on how implementation of GST will prop up the economy. Also, is there any government estimation on what would be the likely GDP expansion post-implementation of the new indirect tax regime?
Well, I think it is obvious that when it unifies the country into one market and enables a free flow of goods and services, checks evasion, makes business easier, this certainly will give a boost to the economy. Now, economists have given various estimates, and I'll only call them estimates, which are already in the public domain.
Sir, Sapna here from CNBC TV 18. A kind of a repeat of your question, especially in terms of service tax, there expected to be a jump on GST. That part of the inflationary impact, and so
You see, it'll depend on two factors. A, what the standard rate will be, and B, what does the GST Council eventually decide upon the rate of the service tax itself. And one of the reasons why successive governments have been gradually adding to the service tax, because one of the intentions was, besides revenue raising, that it should start converging towards the GST rate. And already, if you've seen in the last few years, the UPA government made it from 10 to 12%, then 12 became 14. With cesses, it has become about 15. So it has moved up. And one of the upwards movement is the difference between the rate and the possible rate, which will eventually be fixed, has relatively narrowed down.
Yeah, 194. Yeah.
Sir, this is Surpi from the Hindu Business Line. So yesterday the AIADMK was the only party which opposed the bill. So do we expect Tamil Nadu to come on board with GST, and what happens if it still holds out, sir?
No, I think India has political parties which are extremely responsible. You have a responsible government in Tamil Nadu, and once there is a constitution amendment which is passed and notified, having stated their stand, I'm sure everybody will comply with what the legal structure is. I must say in all fairness that the Tamil Nadu government, through its finance minister, has been represented in almost every meeting of the Empowered Committee. They have voiced their reservations consistently, but at the same time, they've played an active and a positive role in the meetings itself.
Yeah, please.
Sir, two clarifications. Supriya Shinath from ET Now, that the markets would want to know, do the cess and the surcharge of the centre government get subsumed by the GST? That's question number one. And question number two, that the clarification markets would want on is that when you get the GST law in the winter session, will that have a rate mentioned there? And what was your hesitation, and this is a political question that I'm taking the liberty to ask, in committing that this is not going to be a finance bill?
Well, let me make it clear. Where is the rate going to be mentioned? Once we pass a constitution amendment which puts this drafting of the law in the first instance in the domain of the GST Council. Now, without the first draft approved by the Council before me, how can I commit as to what the nature of that draft and what the content of the rate itself would be. And therefore, on a presumptive basis, for me to say as to what will be the nature of that law would not be fair. Secondly, I'll only add this. The constitutional provision in Article 110 and 117 as to what is a money bill and what is a finance bill is absolutely clear. The word used in Article 110 is shall be, that is shall be deemed to be. What shall be deemed to be a money bill? So I can't convert a constitutional requirement into my own option. That's an option I don't have.
सर मैं लक्ष्मण CNBC आवाज से
Well, that is a factor which will be factored in when they fix the rate.
सर मैं लक्ष्मण CNBC आवाज से एक जो संशोधन राज्यसभा ने पारित किया वो ये है कि राज्यों को जो मुआवजे की भरपाई की जाएगी, नुकसान की भरपाई की जाएगी, वहां पे मे की जगह शैल इस्तेमाल किया गया है। तो इससे आपके फिस्कल रोड मैप जो है उस पर क्या असर कोई पड़ेगा 5 साल तक अगर आप 100% तक भरपाई करते हैं तो? और दूसरा, पी चिदम्बरम साहब ने कहा कि 18% रेट रखने को लेकर के हम जन जन में अभियान चलाएंगे, लोगों को बताएं कि इससे महंगाई बढ़ेगी, इससे रेट बढ़ेगा। इसको कैसे आप काउंटर करेंगे?
देखिए, मैंने इसीलिए कहा कि ये जिम्मेवारी सरकार की है कि सरकार राज्यों को जो नुकसान होता है उस राजस्व को पूरा करे, और उसके लिए केंद्र सरकार को खुद की आवश्यकताओं के लिए भी राजस्व चाहिए होगा और मुआवजा देने के लिए भी राजस्व चाहिए होगा। अगर कैप अनरीजनेबल होता है तो उससे तो केवल डेफिसिट बच पड़ेगा, और इसीलिए मैंने कहा कि मौजूदा जिम्मेवारी होना या पूर्व जिम्मेवारी होना इसमें बड़ा अंतर रहता है। तो आप इकट्ठा कम कीजिए और खर्चा ज्यादा कीजिए, ये मौजूदा व्यक्ति नहीं कह सकते।
Sir, just I wanted to add on that question, Ujjwal from Newsrise. Just, sir, there is a contradictory situation when you are saying that for a popular GST you need the lower rate. At the same time, you have to compensate states. So in coming years, we see more borrowing from the government or fiscal or creating more fiscal space by borrowing.
I think what you need is an optimum rate.
Sir, Meghna from INS. My question is that yesterday you had said that currently adding the service tax and the various other taxes that the taxpayer has to pay, the tax rate comes to much more. So can we be looking at a GST rate of over 18%?
Well, obviously I indicated that currently what the taxpayers are paying is phenomenally much higher. And as the calculations which were just now put forward by the Revenue Secretary showed to you, for almost 60-70% of the commodities on a weighted average, you are paying 27% plus a large number of other small taxes. So that will all be added to it. Some of the states have even called it 30-32% or more. Now the guiding principle laid by the empowered committee is that this rate has to come down. Now it will gradually slide down, but even in the first instance it will come down. That's the clear intention that they've expressed. This will have to be married with their second intent that states need enough money for their own developmental activities. Now, developmental activities of states are also in larger public interest. Curtailing them will certainly not help the common man. So a balance between the two will always have to be maintained by the GST Council.
Yeah.
Sir,
Last row there. Yes.
Sir, hi, Tuesh Mishra from Bloomberg Quint. Sir, at 18% GST, how much fiscal outgo do you foresee for compensating states over 5 years?
Well, I think it's a matter, as I indicated, of calculation. And the calculation is a transparent matter. I see no contradiction or hush-hush in it. The chief economic advisor believes that a more reasonable rate is possible. Some states have a contrarian view. So we are today living with those two views. How we are able to converge it over the next few weeks or months, it remains to be seen.
Yeah, last but one.
And let me just say this. ये 18% जो है वो चीफ इकोनॉमिक एडवाइजर के साथ चिपक गया है. उन्होंने 18% कहा नहीं था. What he had said was that this is a price band between 16.9 to 18.9, which is actually closer to 17 to 19%. He had given a band.
Last two brief questions. 42 here. Yes.
Hello sir, this is Sagar from Cogensys. My question to you is that with the implementation of GST, all the existing taxes, state taxes will be subsumed. So recently Kerala government had introduced a tax, fat tax. So will the state governments have the liberty to introduce such taxes or not?
Well, the subsuming of the taxes is the very first power, if you see that section in the Constitution Amendment, of the GST Council itself. So the Council itself will decide that, the taxes which are to be subsumed.
We can make it the last question.
Sir, I am Ashutosh from BTVI. My question to you is, sir, that there is a long way indeed going forward, as you said yesterday also. But how confident is the government that it will meet the April 1, 2000 deadline for the GST rollout?
Well, I think we are going to try to make it as reasonably quick as possible. Now, which is the date by which we are able to make it will have to be seen. It's always good to set stiff targets and try and meet them rather than have no targets at all.
Thank you, sir, and all the other dignitaries. Thank you, friends. Minister has to go to Parliament. There will be other occasions. The refreshments will be ready on the fourth floor around 1 o'clock. Kindly join us. Sir, एक presentation दे दीजिए. Presentation.